Hello and welcome to Joyless Gaming and Injustice 2 ability analysis. Somebody mentioned Green Arrow in a comment, I think, so why not? So first ability is Skybolt. Skybolt replaces Sky Alert, which is down back 1, with this bomb setup. It's got 3 directions, and it pretty much always sticks to those directions. The regular goes roughly there, close goes pretty much on top of you, and far will go full screen. And it's because you get 3 from the meter burn, that covers the sort of middle distance. But the close is always a difficult one to use, even in the corner, because it goes on you. Or behind you, and not on your opponent. And the regular one goes there, so you'd have to sort of meter burn regular or meter burn close in order to make sure that they get hit by it. But otherwise it's essentially just, it's a setup tool. Quite plus on block. Its usefulness in a game with invincible wake-ups is debatable, but if you want to catch your opponent pressing buttons on wake-up, or trying to do something that's not actually the invincible wake-up, that happens. People do that. Otherwise it does sort of interfere with trying to follow up with a combo, but it's good for getting them to block, and it's quite plus on block. Next is Distracting Shot. This modifies Savage Blast, down back 2, to fire a smoke arrow, which has a different hit reaction. It doesn't knock down, it leaves him standing, and it's fairly plus on hit and plus on block on its own. It does add more recovery, so you can't spam it quite as quickly as you can Savage Blast. But the meter burn of this essentially stuns long enough to get a combo as a follow-up. So you can sort of go for a standard combo. It's just a different path in that regard. But it doesn't affect the gravity scaling like something like that would. So it's another option. It also makes it dangerous to try and press buttons out of you doing that. So as I said, not as spammable as Savage Blast, but because that threat of the stun is a bigger threat than just a knockdown, you've got an extra tool to threaten your opponent with. The next is Evasive Shock. This modifies the meter burn of Savage Blast, which as I said is fairly spammable. Modifies the meter burn to fire an electric arrow, which does stun, but doesn't stun for quite as long. So it does give you some extra threat, but also retains the original spammability of Savage Blast. But in the corner, well, in the corner it doesn't always connect after buttons on hit, so you kind of have to be about this distance. But you can get a jump attack follow-up. Stuns long enough to get a jump in for a bit of a juggle combo. And yes, you can actually combine these two. Although, frankly, if you wanted to have the smoke arrow for Evasive Shock, or for Evasive Arrow, Distracting Blast, whatever it is. Sorry, a bit tired. If you wanted to keep that as the regular, I don't know why you would want that as the meter burn when you get more stun out of Distracting Shot. So, but you can combine them. Then there is Smoke Arrow, which is a repositioning tool. You don't get to go in front or anything, like it's always behind. But you do get to do jump attacks out of it. So you can use it at the end of a combo. Sort of set up a follow-up. If you're close enough to the corner at the end of your combo, You can set up for a cross-up situation, and depending on your mood, you may want to just use it to get some extra damage in combos. Or whatever you want to add after that, because it took me long enough to get just that I'd rather not try to add something onto the end of it, but if you're better than me at this character, you can figure out what to put there. And then finally, because Green Arrow only actually has the 5 abilities, we have Bola Arrow, which is the meter burn trait. It replaces the boxing glove arrow. Now what this does, when you get it on hit, instead of doing lots of damage and knocking away, causes a restand with lots of hit stun. Now, if you wanted to prepare beforehand and then sort of use it just as your sort of launcher, stun, it's an option. Well, you would have to prepare it beforehand and not use anything else. It's really tricky, but what you can do is well, again, I'm not good enough at this to keep throwing my head against this wall of figuring out what to put at the end of that when I finally managed to get the link. It's frames are important, and I'm very bad at games. So, yeah, depending on what you utilize, if you've got that set up, then you could get a launch with that. Get a restand into some setup for a free follow-up, but I mean that was essentially a couple of bars to then get your usual setup for a meterless follow-up. So it's, yeah. Better players can figure it out, but it's a really good stunning option. And yeah, restand if you want to have the restand option. So that's Green Arrow. He's only got the 5 abilities. They're a bit varied, a bit interesting. Not all great, but I don't think any of them are totally useless. But they sort of suit the way that you want to play. Thanks for watching. Hope this was informative and or entertaining. Let me know who you'd like to see next, because I'm grasping at straws. Just going through the list of the ones left on the roster. And bye for now.